Ken and Clara's four boys. They had six children, four boys, two girls. This is the oldest son, Mike. And let's see, that's the youngest one, Ron. And this is Steve, so this has to be Greg. And Mike still lives in eastern Columbia Gorge, I believe. He was an ex-Marine, and now he got a degree in psychological counseling, I believe. So the other three, this guy is an actor, local actor in I've forgotten where they live now. And I think the other two are retired bus drivers, just like Ken was.
Huh. Bus drivers where? In Gresham?
Yeah, one of them was in Gresham, and he drove to Portland and then Gresham back and forth. And that's where Ken drove for all of his life once he left the farm. And he had a bad knee, so he couldn't do a lot of physical work, so bus driving was really good for him.
Oh, great.
These are my brothers and sister and their wives. This is Laverne. He went by Vern, except when he was home he was always Laverne, but later he was Vern. He was a rabbit judge. He lived to be 94. Died 2 years ago or so. His wife, she's still alive and doing very well in Oregon.
That's Barbara, right?
Yeah, Barbara. And then this is Bill Stein and Dorothy. Oh, Dorothy's right here. Bill and Dorothy, they lived in Corvallis all their life. Bill was a forest researcher for the U.S. Forest Service. Got his 2 degrees, master's and a doctorate from Yale University. They went across the U.S. with a family each time. I think they had, I think maybe one child, or maybe no, was it 3 children? Anyway, each time they came back from Yale, they had another tick kid or so. So with 12 children, they really ended up with a large number of them. And this is my youngest brother, or he's next oldest. He's 9 years older than I was. Dale and Lorraine. Dale died about 2 years ago, and Lorraine about a year ago or so. And of course, Ken and Clara. Ken was the first of the brothers and sister to die. He lived to be 87, and Clara died maybe 3 or 4 years later.
Do Palmblads live long lives?
Apparently, Laverne was the oldest here at 94. My sister Dorothy was 90. Dale was 92. Ken was 87, and I'm just about 86.
That's amazing.
Hopefully, I can make it to 90 or so.
Oh, all right.
With a little luck. This is the old barn. This was probably before the new barn was built. There was the silo was here that was taken off eventually. This is the first old barn. Hay mow was up there.
This is Gresham, right?
Gresham, yeah. And it's Palmblad Road, as a matter of fact. Right across the road is the brick manufacturing firm. Big pit. Huge pit. Occasionally a horse would fall down in there and have to be shot. Eventually they break legs and things. Eventually they put a big fence around it. That didn't happen after I was 8, 9 years old. But this was the old barn, and then they had a nice new barn that was it held about 40 cows or so apparently. I remember in World War II, I faintly remember it. They were afraid of the Japanese coming into the West Coast and attacking the U.S., and so they had a light prohibition thing at night. So we had to put big plywood sheets that would open during the day and drop down over the windows at night, so that there was no light for airplanes above. Uh, and my brothers and they had great Japanese friends, that went to high school with, and they were just really buddies. And they were all forced to go to Japanese concentration camps and so on. It was a horrible part of our history.
This is your mother, right?
Yeah, that was my mother.
Tell me about your mother.
Hilma Elsie. She was, I can't remember how old she was when she was married. I remember my dad said, she lived up,
They were married
about,
in 1918.
yeah, she
So
lived up
she would
about
have been 1821.
18 miles, I think, from each other. And he said it would take all day to court her with an old horse and buggy.
Cute.
But eventually they got married, and they spent all their time on this farm. And they had mostly dairy cattle, and the biggest they ever had was about 50 registered Guernseys dairy cattle, and then that had a big major sale in 1948. And then they converted from a dairy farm then to sort of a small crops, strawberries and corn mostly, and raised a little hay. Dad always kept 3 or 4 or 5 cows, even after he sold all the registered ones. And we used to milk those by hand. I had to milk, or did milk cows before going to school in the morning.
So it was a small dairy.
Yeah, it was a very small dairy. They used to sell out of the back porch refrigerator. The neighbors would drop by and pick up quarts or gallons each day, or whatever they had arrangements on. And what was I going to say?